Some breaking news that by the time this video comes out won't be as breaking, but just today it's been announced that Biden has officially decided he will not be running in this upcoming election. So I want to speak on what this means, who should be the candidate, and if this is a win or a loss for the Democratic Party, if it was the right thing to do. But first, let's start with the letter he himself released as he states his successes, his appreciation of the support that he's received, not just in 2020, but so far this year. He shouted out Kamala Harris for being his running mate, but stated that it's in the best interest of his party for the country if he steps down. He's not conceding that he's unable to run. This is something you hear MAGA saying already. He actually states the opposite, but practically because of how strong this narrative has came, how consistent the media has been pushing it, he has to do what's best for the party that he believes is best for the country, especially when running against a threat like Donald Trump, which is the most noble thing he could do. He's putting party and country before his ego, and this not only shows the stark contrast between him and Donald Trump, who would never do that, I think it solidifies him as being the greatest president of my lifetime. He's cut insulin and medicine prices, expanded Medicare, had historic climate change investment, invested in infrastructure, and now, to ensure that we do not let Trump destroy our democracy, destroy the progress that he himself has helped make, he's stepping aside to give Democrats the best chance that we have to beat Trump. He also might be the strongest one-term president in history, as he was able to pass 7 bills, 3 major pieces with a multitude of accomplishments coming from them. My view has always been that no matter who's on it in this election, we should support the Democratic ticket. Trump is a threat, especially getting to appoint more Supreme Court justices will shape America for the rest of our lives. So I was willing to push back against the narrative that Biden was mentally unfit to run. I still am. I still think he mentally is fit to run. It's just hard to overcome a media narrative once it's made. Those first impressions are hard to beat. I was willing to say that his record is stronger than Trump's and his record could beat Trump's. I still feel that way. I think his record, it speaks volumes, and it's not even close to the disastrous record of the Trump administration. But when it comes down to electability, as the media cycle continued and piled on him and focused and hyper-focused on every little mistake he would make, I came to believe it probably would be best for him to step aside. It's going to be, again, hard for him to overcome that first impression now, where voters are just now starting to really tune into the race, and all the media wanted to talk about was Biden and his age, not Trump and his felonies or his threat to democracy. And I am glad that he was able to put his ego to the side and make what is the right decision. So this opens a few questions. The first one being, is this democratic? It's funny because the Republicans who are quick to say, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, are now screaming that we have to sue to keep them on the ballot for democracy. Like, now you guys value democracy? I mean, okay, which I kind of get where they're trying to get at. Millions voted for him in the primaries. You know, is it democratic to have him withdraw? And then also, what would be the most democratic way forward from here? Well, I can tell you first off that forcing someone to run who doesn't want to run isn't democratic. That's insane to even say that. So there's that. But also, in terms of the process and how elections actually work, delegates at their respective conventions actually select the nominee. So for Republicans saying, well, the people voted for him, that's like in 2016 saying, well, the people voted for Hillary because she won the popular vote, but Trump was still elected by not the people, the Electoral College. Our process and our election process isn't a direct democracy, which is why Republicans think they're getting a win when they say we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, when a constitutional republic is a representative democracy. But we're not going to go down that train today. Biden, though, has he's not officially been nominated as the nominee for the Democratic Party. So there's not any question as to the actual ability for him to drop out. And there's plenty of democratic ways to move forward. There could be an open convention. There could be nominating Harris, who is on the ticket and has a claim to those votes, despite MAGA also already obviously freaking out because they know that Trump doesn't stand a chance with anyone under the age of 70, pledging to sue with tears in their eyes, pretty much. Kamala is up on Trump in a poll, showing a 1-point lead. This is before any of these announcements. And since she was on the ticket with Biden, again, she has an equal claim to those votes, to the fundraising, to the field offices, the infrastructure that his campaign has set up. Pretty much it would be allowing all the advantages that they had under Biden with a fresher and younger candidate. So it should come with no surprise to be the person that I want to see nominated is Kamala Harris, speaking in terms of the best chance we have to beat Trump. Longtime channel viewers would know I voted for Marianne Williamson in the primary. Marianne Williamson lines up almost 1-to-1 with my political views, a lot more so than Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. But if we're being practical in terms of this election, Marianne in just a few months wouldn't have the time to get the national recognition she needs to beat someone who is pretty much like a mega star like Trump, who's known by everyone and their kids for being, well, outrageous, not for being a good president, but his name at least rings the bell. So we need someone who can match him on that. She would also be starting from zero with fundraising, and this is true with pretty much all candidates other than Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom. They're all strong candidates in their own right. They all could have their time to run for president and even be the nominee, but none of them have a national record to run on. Kamala does. None of them have the name recognition that Kamala does. Biden has also already spoken out endorsing Kamala Harris to be the nominee, so there's the easiest chance of his voters just seamlessly shifting to her rather than any other candidate. And also you have to think of not just the black voters, the female voters, but the level of voters who would be rightfully upset if they were to just have Kamala Harris overlooked, who's been the vice president, first black female vice president. Biden has also spoken out to say, again, he endorses Kamala. So she has the presidential endorsement that a lot of times, had he ran 8 years, that's what the VP is looking to get. That gives them the best chance to become the nominee after. And with diversity being such a prominent feature in their administration, it would only be fitting. Now, we will do more of a deep dive into her successes as a senator, as attorney general, district attorney, these kinds of things, if it is to become official that she is the nominee. But I want to speak to end on some possible running mates. She needs to pick to someone to her left, like way to her left, a progressive, I believe, if she wants to have the most strategically efficient pick. A lot of progressives, because of Biden, had vowed to sit out due to Biden's enabling of the genocide in Gaza. And for that, I can hardly disagree with them. I personally think that the level of threat Trump poses is reason to kind of maybe just vote against him pretty much rather than for anyone. But I do think that that is the worst stain on his legacy, on his administration, and definitely on his reelection chances. It's what I've been the most critical of Biden on. I think anyone with a humane sense should. And so what she needs is someone who doesn't represent that, someone who isn't a Zionist and has progressive goals to then reunite the left to be against Trump. And if she can do that, I don't see this election being close at all. Trump has virtually no chance against anyone who wasn't Biden. 62% of people think that Trump is mentally unfit to be president. Moderate Republicans and independents do not favor Trump and have been shying away from him even more and more as the felonies pile in, the indictments pile in. He can't stop crying about the 2020 election. And most didn't even favor him over Biden anyway. There were the Haley voters, there were the independent focus groups, even after the debates, all saying they would have leaned towards Biden. So with a fresher, stronger candidate, I mean, she's going to blow them out of the water. And without them and with the unified left, it will be another blowout, just like one we saw in 2020. This is an exciting time for Democrats. I think it is overall a win for us and our electability chances. And I can only wait to see what is to come in the future.